Look at that horizon, Cowboys Nation. Can you feel it? The Texas sun isn't just rising over Arlington today. It is scorching the very turf of AT&T Stadium with a heat we haven't felt in decades. We are talking about the soul of America's team, a franchise that doesn't just play football, it carries the psychological weight of an entire nation's expectations on its silver and blue shoulders. When that blinding glare hits the star on the side of the helmet, it's not just a logo, it's a mandate. It is a relentless, suffocating pressure to find a way, any way, to finally hoist a sixth Lombardi trophy into the rafters. For 30 years, the ghosts of the 90s dynasty have haunted these halls. But right now, in the wake of a season that felt like a jagged pill to swallow, something has shifted in the atmosphere. We are standing at a precipice where tradition meets desperation, and Jerry Jones is holding the match. Before we break down these massive updates, make sure you're part of the Cowboys Nation Inner Circle. Subscribe to the channel right now, smash that like button, and drop your take in the comments. Does the silver and blue agree with this direction? I want to see that Cowboys star shining in the comments. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but the ringmaster of the most expensive circus in sports is back at the podium, and he's making promises. Jerry Jones, the 83-year-old patriarch of the Star, stood before the cameras this Wednesday and threw down a financial gauntlet that would make a central banker blush. He's looking at a 7-9-1 record, a season that ended in a whimper, a season that saw the Dallas Cowboys sitting on the couch for the second straight January, and he's telling us he is ready to blow the budget. Yes, you heard that right. Jerry is staring down the barrel of his own legacy, seeing the twilight of the Dak Prescott era, and he's claiming the time for austerity is over. He told the media, while Dak is playing and dominating the game like he is, we want to go out and basically do better than we did this year. He called it an incentive. He called it drastic. But let's be real for a second. How many times have we heard the all-in siren song, only to find ourselves shipwrecked on the rocks of the bargain bin? Let's look at the cold, hard data, because history is a brutal teacher in North Texas. Remember 2023? Jerry said they were totally committed to the Super Bowl. The result? They spent the league-low $37.7 million on free agents in 2024. The result of that? A disastrous 7-10 season that sent Mike McCarthy packing and brought in Brian Schottenheimer. Then in 2025, they bumped the spending to $47 million, but it was like bringing a squirt gun to a house fire because they traded away the heartbeat of the defense, Micah Parsons. You cannot talk about spending in one breath and then ship a generational talent like the Lion to the Green Bay Packers in the next. It's a paradox. They tried to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound by acquiring Quinnen Williams from the Jets, but the damage was done. This team finished dead last in the league in points allowed, surrendering 30.1 points per game. That's not a defense, that's a red carpet to the end zone. Tactically, what does blowing the budget even look like for Schottenheimer's Texas Coast offense? We're talking about an 11-personnel scheme that lives and dies on versatility, but right now it's all coast and no Texas. If Jerry truly wants to maximize Dak Prescott's pre-snap mastery, he needs more than just CeeDee Lamb. Dak is at his best when he's the conductor of a symphony, identifying the blitz like Roger Staubach did in the 70s, finding the open man before the defense even realizes they've been beaten. But without a dominant ground game or a secondary threat that demands a double team, the Texas Coast becomes a predictable dink and dunk show. On the other side of the ball, whoever is calling the shots for this defense, which surrendered 511 points last year, needs a doomsday defense revival. We're talking about nickel box safety rotations that actually hit something. We're talking about hybrid 4-3-3-4 disguises that don't just confuse the opposing QB, but actually put him on his back. I've been talking to people inside the building at the Star in Frisco, and the skepticism is thick enough to cut with a knife.
One veteran analyst told me Jerry's all-in is usually just all talk until Stephen Jones signs the check. They talk about chemistry, but they've ignored the trenches for too long. A scout inside the building was even more blunt. One scout told me Jerry is going all in on the optics, not just the talent. He needs a big name to sell tickets after that 34-17 loss to the Giants, but big names don't fix a 30-point-per-game defense. And a third source, a former Cowboys defensive standout, whispered they traded the soul of the defense in Parsons. Now they're trying to buy a new one in free agency. It doesn't work that way. You can't just buy the star mentality. You have to draft it and keep it. Let's talk about Dak Prescott for a moment, the man in the middle of this financial storm. When you watch Dak at the line of scrimmage, you see a master at work. His pre-snap adjustments are legendary, reminiscent of the great Troy Aikman's ability to see the field in slow motion. But even Aikman had the triplets. Even Emmitt Smith had the Great Wall of Dallas. Dak is being asked to dominate the game while the front office is playing Moneyball with his supporting cast. He has the Captain America aura, the leadership that Roger Staubach embodied, but he's playing behind a shifting line and a defense that can't get off the field. If Jerry blows the budget, it has to be to protect number 4. It has to be to give him the weapons to ensure that 2026 isn't just another year of what if. But here is the reality check. The salary cap doesn't care about Jerry's 83-year-old sense of urgency. SpotTrack has Dallas projected at a $23.07 million surplus. That's enough to buy a nice house in Highland Park, but it's not enough to overhaul a roster that's bleeding points. To blow the budget, they're going to have to engage in some drastic financial gymnastics. We're talking about massive restructures, pushing money into the future like a credit card bill that never comes due. They'll have to rework Dak's deal, CD's deal, and maybe even find a way to move on from high-priced veterans who aren't producing. Jerry says he wants it to be fun and exciting, but there is nothing fun about being cap-strapped in March and watching the top-tier talent sign with the Eagles or the 49ers. The ghost of the 90s dynasty is always in the room at AT&T Stadium. Jerry wants that feeling back, the feeling of being the undisputed kings of the NFL. But you don't get there by being the minimal spenders of the league. You don't get there by trading your best defensive player for draft picks and then wondering why you can't stop a nosebleed. The Micah Parsons trade was, as Jerry admitted, a dramatic thing. But was it the right thing? The 2025 stats say no. The 30.1 points per game say no. The 7-9-1 records say no. Now the burden is on the Jones family to prove that the flexibility they gained was worth the talent they lost. Cowboys Nation, we are tired of the all-in speeches. We want the all-in actions. We want to see the doomsday defense reborn in the draft and free agency. We want to see an offensive line that doesn't just protect Dak, but mauls people in the run game like the walls of the 90s. Jerry says he's ready to do something drastic. Well, Jerry, the fan base is ready for something victorious. The weight of the star is heavy, and right now it feels like it's pulling the franchise down rather than acting as a beacon. Is 2026 the year the star shines again, or is it just another year of broken promises from the world's most charismatic salesman? We're about to find out if blowing the budget is a strategy or just another slogan. How about them Cowboys? The heat is on, the clock is ticking, and the world is watching to see if the Cowboys can finally find their way to the Ring of Honor.